Balls up and crappenings. We got some stuffs going on. I posted on FightfulSelect.com tonight that Kevin Owens was closer to a return than many expected. So is Sami Zayn. They got different vignettes. I thought this was a good couple of things to put on a show where you're promoting changing, new faces, a couple of good established faces back in the fold. That's good news, Alex.
Yeah. I am not super opposed to any of these call-ups. I think
we're talking Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens.
Sorry. You broke up there for a second. I thought you were talking about that. I'm happy that Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are coming back. It's one of those things where I don't know. I kind of loved heel Sami Zayn, and I'm not done with him yet, especially if he's on the same brand with Daniel Bryan, because I just love the idea of him like sidling up to Daniel Bryan as champion back and like, hey, told you so. Told you you would actually, you should have been listening to Kevin and I, because that was what they were telling him the whole time, was like, Daniel, you should be like us. And he actually did listen to them. I think that's kind of cool. Also, let's not forget that they somehow immediately turned Kevin Owens babyface in that last match with Bobby Lashley, and it looks like they're bringing him back as a heel.
Well, they don't know what they're bringing him back as yet. There was a discussion about that backstage this weekend, actually.
I'm looking forward to seeing what happens.
And when I was told that he was going to be ready by Royal Rumble, and that was just this weekend, I was like, really?
That's fast.
Double knee surgery?
That's
he recovered crazy from that Elton John concert cancellation way quicker than I thought he would. And keep in mind, Sami Zayn, double shoulder surgery.
Yeah.
He was targeting WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So this is a situation where usually they would have went the surprise route with these guys and the other call-ups, but they know that they need to build some suspense. I'm okay with the balance. For years, they have went the surprise route with stuff like this. And I am more than fine, even though your boy won't get those scoops and post them like I have been all year.
Right.
I'm okay with that. It's smart business to do that, to go ahead and promote the fact that these guys are going to be on the show. Speaking of people who are going to be on the show, Lacey Evans, Heavy Machinery, EC3, Lars Sullivan, and Nikki Cross. We're going to go by these one by one. Lacey Evans, Alex.
Yeah, she's the one I have the most qualms about, but I don't think she's ever going to be a women's champion. I don't think she ever needs to be. As opposed to people like Ruby Riott, who I feel like has a real future as a top contender throughout, this thing. So that when people get called up from NXT and they were champions in NXT or almost champions in NXT, and I think to myself, these guys should have a rocket strapped to them. They're so amazing. And they come up to the main roster and they fizzle out. I go, well, I get disappointed. But if Lacey Evans comes up and has a little mini push and then gets pushed to the wayside, I won't mind so much. But I do think she could add something to the heel division of whatever show she's on.
I think, based on what I've seen, and I've covered her quite a bit when I did the Weekender podcast and when I covered NXT before Warren took it over for me, I was really excited for her when you had Baszler, the Japanese women that came in. Mm-hmm. You had Duke and Shafir, people who had come up in a background where you had to learn how to shoot before you worked, because she really needed that. From what I've seen, like, she's got really great physical tools and just needs to refine it a little bit. And also she should treat her matches a little more like they're a fight. Like, there are times I see where she should be going for a pin. She doesn't go for a pin. Yeah. And I think when you get shoot-minded wrestlers like Io Shirai and Kairi Sane and Jessamine Duke and Marina Shafir and Shayna Baszler, these people who know knockout, submission, pin above all else.
Right.
Before go to the next spot, go to the next spot, go to the next spot. I think that's something that could have really helped her. I honestly hope that she gets in there with Ronda Rousey a little bit. That's weird for me to say out loud. Hey, I hope she gets in there with this woman who's been wrestling for 9 months and can really help her. Asuka would be a good person to help lead Lacey Evans through. I would put her on the loops with Asuka immediately and have them work together. So that's an interesting one. Heavy Machinery. They are, in my estimation, their ceiling is too cool if they're lucky, if they're real lucky. And that's a good ceiling to have.
Yeah. These guys will be huge with kids and on the house show circuit. Like Otis Dozovic is so engaging. Like he actually had a really good one-on-one title match with Tommaso Ciampa a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like he's good. I think Tucker Knight hitched himself to the right wagon because I think Dozovic carries that team. I think these guys could be a lot of fun. Again, if they're never champs at WWE, it's not a giant thing that I'm going to be like really upset about. Although I do love Dozer. I think he's fantastic. But I think these guys could easily be a very good addition to either SmackDown or Raw, and just fill out the tag team division. Like, listen, if these guys are on SmackDown, then you don't need to make believe that the Colognes have been there the whole time when you have to fill out a Survivor Series team. You can actually use these guys instead, and they're younger, they're hungry, actually hungry for steaks, and push them up there, let them do something.
I said a while back on Fightful Select, it's like you look at Otis and you just know Vince McMahon would see him and go, ha ha ha! I gotta have him.
Yeah, I think Vince must love that guy.
I gotta have him and Henry Godwin. Is that who that is? Lars Sullivan. I hope he is Braun Strowman fodder. Honestly, I don't see it. I don't get it.
No,
I don't know.
Yeah, I always remind myself that when they called up Elias, I said, this guy's got no shot.
I'm always open to it after the Elias thing exploded.
So I don't think Lars has the tools that Elias does. And I have to Google it or something, but I remember looking up and it's like he's like 6'4" or something like that. He's not incredible. He's a big dude, but he's wide, but he's not he's not Braun Strowman height. So I wonder how
Braun's like 6'4", isn't he?
He's 6'8". They listen to 6'8". He wears lifts, but I don't really know.
Is he? Wow, he is not 6'8". He's like 6'5", 6'6".
Right.
But Alexa Bliss is another one. Didn't have an extended great NXT run. She was a manager.
Or Carmella. Look at how far Carmella has come since she got called up. That'll tell you right there that anything is possible. I've liked some of Lars Sullivan's matches in NXT. He's got an interesting thing about him. I wish they would let him do the thing he did for a while in NXT, where he was basically Beast from the X-Men, where he's this giant thing, this hulking beast. But they let him be like weirdly, like insidiously brilliant a few times. So I'm interested in seeing like that weird professor in a freak of nature monster body. They'll probably never do that though.
I think the next two are slam dunks. You have EC3. Yep. Is he TV ready? Well, he was TV ready 6 or 7 years ago.
Honestly, he didn't need to go to NXT ever. He didn't need to spend a day in NXT. He was ready when they signed him from TNA.
Yeah. He was the best thing about TNA wrestling for a very, very long time.
And this is something also that's interesting about this is that all these call-ups free up a lot of space in NXT for people to maneuver around. Every time EC3 wasn't in a marquee matchup on a takeover over the past year, I was like, this guy's super ready. He's one of the most absolutely ready guys you have on the entire roster. When they're not using him, it feels weird. Now that he's not down there, you have to worry about that. Like he's not have to fight for space on TV. He's wherever he goes, Raw or SmackDown, that guy's ready for just below main event right now.
He gets a lot of comparisons to Bobby Roode. I think he's got a way higher ceiling than Bobby Roode. I think he's got better matches than Bobby Roode. I'm not going to say he's a more polished in-ring worker than Bobby Roode, because Bobby Roode, he's very Triple H-ish in that manner. Like he's not going to do anything that makes you stand up and go, whoa, but Bobby Roode won't mess up anything either. Yeah. EC3 actively adds to his repertoire and tries new moves and steps out of the box. Look at the Velveteen Dream match. There were things in that match you didn't expect him to do.
EC3 is such an engaging character, and he can play the exact same character as heel or babyface. All it takes is a tiny tweak. He's mastered that character, the overprivileged, guy with the great suits and everything, the top 1% guy. He's mastered it, and he can tweak it either way depending on what audience he's in front of.
And credit to WWE, they could have brought him in as Ethan Carter III and made that a giant rib on Dixie Carter.
They really could have.
And 28 years ago, they would have. 100%.
They also could have brought him back as Derek Bateman and pretended that he didn't have that whole chapter of his career where he went somewhere else and became a megastar.
As soon as Impact said, hey, we're going to allow our IPs to be used elsewhere, he trademarked that. As he should have.
Yeah, absolutely.
As he should have. But he is one. If you all want some recommended viewing, maybe you're not that familiar with EC3. You want to talk about the Derek Bateman stuff, him and Daniel Bryan.
Mm-hmm.
Anything.
Yeah.
There was an interview I did with EC3 a couple years ago where he went in depth about how he and Daniel Bryan got in trouble for rigging NXT at one point with the how well do you know your pro thing. That is worth going out of your way to see. Daniel Bryan and Derek Bateman on a double date with the Bella Twins, worth going out of your way to see. Daniel Bryan teaching Derek Bateman, as he would call it, a submission heel hook, worth going out of your way to see. In TNA, Rockstar Spud versus EC3 in the UK was unbelievable from both of them. I can't wait to see EC3 up there. I can't wait to see Nikki Cross up there too.
Yeah.
Hopefully it is with a reboot for Sanity. God knows they need her very, very badly.
Yeah, she could easily be the leader of that faction. And be, I mean, when they started it, I was like, you're giving me this post-apocalyptic intergender heel faction in NXT with these masks and everything. Like I was totally into it, and I've been wanting like a woman to be part of a faction on the main roster in for a while, and I think that she's great at it. And if you're gonna have Becky and Charlotte be preoccupied with what Ronda's doing over on Raw, then SmackDown Live could do a lot worse than having Asuka's first real challenger be Nikki Cross debuting and coming in, because they had some slobber knockers in NXT. They work so well together. I think that'd be excellent.
I would love to see, and I'm not expecting Sanity to get a Road Warriors push, but I would love to see Nikki Cross as the Paul Ellering to them, to where she's the one that can control them. She's the leader. She's got them on a leash, more or less. And she can handle that, and she can handle herself as well. This is overdue. It should have happened a couple months ago when they brought her up. Yeah, it's really weird that it didn't.
She got a lot of great stuff on TV in NXT. She had a couple of title matches while Sanity was up on SmackDown not doing anything. So she actually got the better out of the deal. But I just love all the stuff she does with, like, when she rides Killian Dane to the ring as part of the faction. I think it's just great. She's fantastic.